What's up everyone, Nameco here, Fantasy Smack Talk. I hope you guys won your season-long leagues, and if you did, then you got some cash to spend on DraftKings. If you didn't, win that money back in 1 week on DraftKings. So if you're not already a member, follow the card or the link in the description. Listen, do everything that we can so Smack Talk can get some credit, deposit some money, pick some of these guys. This is our Week 17 DraftKings value plays, and there's a lot of value this week. So if you've been watching me all season, we had a pretty good run. I definitely had a good year, so I assume some other people did. I mean, I rode the value plays and David Johnson Le'Veon, but I'm not going to be able to ride a guy like Le'Veon this week. So this is a very important video in terms of the value you can get, and you can get a ton of value at running back. So if this is your first time watching, remember DraftKings is PPR, so take that into note. And I don't want you to use all of these guys, just mix and match, and I'm going to give you some values, and I'm going to give you more running back values than I typically do. So let's just jump right into it. So Le'Veon Bell is probably not going to see many, if any, snaps this week, which means Toussaint and or D'Angelo Williams is going to be very interesting plays against the Cleveland Browns. I personally think Williams isn't going to play, so I really like Toussaint. He's only $4,300, but if you hear that Williams will get the start, then $5,500, that's also not so bad. But again, I would say build some lines with Toussaint in it. If not, then maybe you can sub in Ronnie Hillman. This isn't a guy. He's probably going to get the majority of the touches. Again, I don't know if Melvin Gordon's going to play. I don't see why they would play him. So for $3,700, Hillman against Kansas City is kind of interesting. So he's not one of my staple guys. Another staple guy this week is Blue for the Texans. So they're not going to move in their playoff spot. They're exactly where they're seated. So Lamar Miller got banged up. So why play him this week? They haven't ruled him out yet, but I just don't see what sense that makes because he's a little banged up. Let him rest a number week. That's obviously their start running back. Blue held his own last week, and for $4,300, I absolutely love him. Now, true, they're playing Tennessee. Tennessee's very, very tough against the run, but it's tough to get a guy that's going to get that much volume for that discount of a price. Next is a guy that's going to find his way into a ton of my lineups, and that's Rodgers for the Tampa Bay Bucks. Martin is suspended for Adderall, which I think is ridiculous, by the way. The NFL does that, but whatever. So he's suspended for Adderall. There might even be a team imposed, even more ridiculous. But Martin's not there, and Sims was placed on IR. Who does that leave? Rodgers. Remember when we were riding Rodgers earlier this year? So I used him, middle of the season, and I loved riding him. He did absolutely great in that offense and that flow. PPR, he catches the ball a ton. So Rodgers for just a hair under $5,000 at $4,900 against the Carolina team is very interesting, making a lot of lineups. All right, next is Collins for Seattle. Again, Rawls is a little banged up. I don't know why they would necessarily play him. He had an MRI on his shoulder. Now, Rawls might start, so you got to keep that in mind. A lot of these things, build some lineups, check back on Sunday. Let's say you have Rawls in, and it turns out that he's or not Rawls on. Let's say you have Collins in for Rawls, and Collins being $4,600, playing San Francisco, everyone crushes them. So if he's going to be the only running back, you're going to have to love him. So you build a lineup with him in it, and if that doesn't work out, then you have Hillman in your back pocket. So I don't love Hillman as much as these other guys, but again, Hillman's going to get the touches, so you can swap in if need be. All right, so those are some of the running backs. So again, the Steelers situation, I believe it's going to be Toussaint, Blue, Collins, Rodgers, I like, and then a Hillman if you need to swap somebody in. Again, Sunday reports are going to be key, but all these guys keep on your radar. If you're actually playing season-long leagues and you're watching this, get your little Smack Talk fix, these are some pickup guys that are kind of interesting this week that are probably on your waiver wire and might make or break your championship, which is stupid. So tell your commissioners never to make a Week 17 championship, please. Thank you. Moving on, going to wide receivers. Going to start with J.J. Nelson, $4,600. The Cardinals are playing the Rams. The thing that I like about him is the targets. He had 7 targets last week. The thing I don't like, he didn't catch a ton of them. The thing I do like, over $130 and a touchdown. And with Floyd out of town, I could see Nelson have another decent game. Ted Ginn's another one. I know he broke a lot of our hearts in Week 16 championship, but for $4,500 against Tampa Bay, I find him interesting just because of the targets last week. He had 9 of them, so his target volume has been very steady. He's not just the big play guy I've been saying all year. As we move on to the tight end position, based on an injury, Brait placed on IR. Myers is the #1 tight end, or passing down tight end at least, for the Tampa Bay Bucks. I don't love him, but for $2,700, if he gets all the Brait balls, I mean, that's amazing. Playing Carolina, I think that's kind of interesting. I'm not necessarily going discounted on quarterback me personally in any leagues, but if you really want to do it, $5,200 for Bradford playing Chicago in a meaningless game. He almost had 30 points last week, maybe keeps it going. Other than that, there weren't great values at quarterback. And last but not least, my defense. I really like Arizona. I don't know why they're only $3,000. They're playing LA. It's at LA, but Goff is terrible. I could see Patrick Peterson picking off a couple, so I find them interesting, of course. And even if you don't see much of Peterson, because again, it's a pointless game, there's plenty of things that Goff can do to screw up. So again, mix and match some of these guys, but focus on the running backs. That's who I think where the value is. So good luck this week. I'll probably be shooting another video next week for the first round of playoffs, and then it'll probably be over because there's not much you can do after that. So hopefully you won some money with me this year. I certainly did. Thank you, David Johnson. Thank you, Le'Veon Bell, and thank you all of the value guys that I put in my lineup so I was able to get those guys every single week. Nameco out. Weird ending.